Australia out with its latest budget, announcing fresh tax cuts and cost of living relief as Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's Labor government launches a charm offensive. It's hoping to win a second term in the election next month. Treasurer Jim Chalmers also highlighting the importance of building a more competitive and productive economy, saying this is the best defence against tariffs and global economic uncertainty. Roger Maynard tells us more.
This was a budget aimed at wooing voters to support the Labor government in the forthcoming general election, which has to be held by mid-May. But it also recognised the unpredictability of the economy in an unsettled world. With US tariffs at the forefront of international concerns, Treasurer Jim Chalmers acknowledged that the government was focused on the dangers presented by trade tensions. He admitted that storm clouds were gathering from President Trump's upcoming tariffs, as well as a slowing China, an ongoing war in Europe, and collapsing peace in the Middle East. There's a lot of growing uncertainty, he said, and trade tensions were a big part of that story. But it's not the whole story, he insisted. The government's job was to keep managing the economy responsibly, to rebuild incomes, make the economy more resilient, and ensure that Australia takes out insurance against all this global risk. He confirmed the latest government initiative to spend more on defence and bring forward expenditure on the submarine base at Perth in Western Australia as part of the AUKUS deal. But much of this budget was aimed at keeping voters happy in the run-up to this year's general election.
The plan at the core of this budget is about more than putting the worst behind us. It's about seizing the best of what's ahead of us, to build a stronger economy together and to build a future that we can all be proud of.
The Treasurer announced tax cuts which would boost the economy by raising incentives to work for low-income and part-time employees, particularly women. There would be help for first-time home buyers and financial relief for all Australian households and businesses to ease the burden of higher energy prices. But there was no denying that Australia also faced a decade of deepening deficits. In fact, Treasury papers have revealed that the budget is likely to remain in structural deficit until 2035-36. Tuesday's budget was aimed at boosting confidence in the government's economic credentials by offering the electorate a range of sweeteners. Labor and the opposition are running almost neck and neck in the opinion polls at the moment, with commentators predicting the result could result in a minority government. So a lot is riding on this budget, with Labor trying to pull a few rabbits out of the economic bag and the coalition hoping to convince voters it's time for change. In truth, the election result is very much up for grabs, and to what extent the budget influences voters' minds remains to be seen. Roger Maynard, CNA, Sydney.